This is A-Game, fast-acting, long-lasting, with no side effects.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So what we got for you today is Black women are not the backbone of the community. I know that we've heard this many times. Black women like to say that they have had to step up and they've had to take care of the Black community, and they've had to be responsible for it because the men are weak and because the men are conquered and because the men are, submitting to white supremacy, and Black men just basically don't have what it takes to lead their community like other men of other ethnicities and cultures, which has always been a lie. It's always been a lie. And it that type of disingenuous discourse that a lot of Black women like to have has led to a lot of the dysfunction and a lot of the separation between Black men and Black women. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a clip from the esteemed Sister Shahrazad Ali discussing this, and then we're going to come back and really cook it, because it's a lot. It's a lot that Black women have refused to understand, refuse to know, because they actually like the position that they've been given. Although they complain about it, the complaint is false. The complaint is a lie. But anyway, let me go ahead, because I got a few things to show you, but we're going to start with this clip. Here we go.
And we have been given the false compliment that we are the backbone of the Black nation. There is no doubt in any community in this country that the men in those communities are the backbone of their nations. There's no doubt in the white community that the white man is the backbone of his nation. The European, the Buddhist, the Korean, the Japanese, the Hispanic, all of those men are the backbones of their community, and there's no doubt about it. It is only in the Black community where those values have been transposed and where they put that burden on us and tell us that we are the backbone of the Black community, which is a direct insult to the Black man and implies that he don't have no backbone and that his women have to represent him.
So let me go ahead and stop sharing that. So we were able to hear that, and she said a mouthful in just a few moments, as per usual. Okay? It is a direct insult to Black men. And, she's actually one of the few women that were willing to stand up and say what the truth was, not only about the nature of white supremacy and how it has affected the Black community, but the actual effect on the Black community, specifically on Black women, which nobody really examined to the depth that she did prior to her. But we as Black women were never supposed to, we never should have accepted the mantle of being the backbone of the community, which meant simultaneously that we were accepting the mantle of leadership in the Black community. And the problem is that we accepted that mantle instead of seeing it as a red flag that it was, by saying, wait a minute, what do you mean we're the backbone of the community? What do you mean we're supposed to be leading our community? No, we're not. The men have been leading our community. The men have been making a way for us. Why would we then usurp that position and try to be in their position leading the Black community? We don't want to be responsible for leading the entire Black community anywhere, because we don't have a vision. We don't have a place to lead them, and we don't understand how to do that as a group of women. So why would that be foisted upon us? We should have seen that as a red flag, especially coming from where it was coming from. It was coming from the same society that would make an ordinance in 1918 to take a housewife out of the house and make her work in Miss Ann's house. It was coming from the same system that would later then bomb Tulsa, Oklahoma, aka Black Wall Street. It was coming from this same system that made hundreds or maybe even thousands of lake towns that Black men built and owned and was populated by Black people, especially after during Reconstruction and immediately after. Okay, since we were segregated, we just built our own, and Black men was doing that all over the nation, and all over the nation, it was being thwarted and it was being destroyed by any means and every means necessary. And the issue here is that Black women should have rebuffed that, but didn't, because they actually wanted the false sense of superiority that latching on to Zaddy was going to give them in all of these various different ways. See, Black women have been in control of the Black community, and we see the result of that leadership that Black women have been, that they've been given and that they've willingly taken for themselves and moved forward with that. So we're in a doomed and in a destructive path, because that's where the collective of Black female leadership has actually led us, okay? And one reason that we're here, one of the reasons why we're here, is because Black women collectively do not understand, know, or care about the way in which white supremacy works to dismantle us as a community, as a group of women, as a group of men, how they work to disenfranchise the men, how they work to separate the children from the family, and all of these sorts of things. Black women do not know, do not understand, and ultimately do not care. Because she's being given these crumbs off of the master's table, she doesn't really care or pay too much attention to any of the things that's really going on around her, because if she really pays attention to it, or if she says anything about it, then the butter biscuits are going to be taken away from her, and that's what she really don't want. Okay, so generally speaking, by and large, Black women have not understood the essence, the true essence of white supremacy, nor have they been willing to get in the front lines and and really sacrifice for exposing and educating, exposing what white supremacy is, educating the community with it, with that knowledge, and confronting the powers that be under pain of death. There have only been a few Black women that weren't feminists, that weren't working towards the women's rights and all of this type of stuff, that was purely in support of the Black community, bringing them together and going against white supremacy in all of its forms, not conforming to going against it in one part and then loving it when it comes to the female empowerment and the woman's empowerment and the woman's living feminist part of it. There were only a few. Sister Shahrazad Ali is one. Dr. Frances Quest Welsing is another. Only a handful that were truly in support of Black people's struggle 100%. Okay? Because we could think of a lot of Black women's names, but how many of them were actually feminists? And if you were a feminist, you were actually working in conjunction with white supremacy, not against it. Because to be a feminist is to work against Black men. To work against Black men means to work against the interests of the community as a whole. And it really is a situation of, if you're not for us, you're against us. If you're not with us, you're against us. That really is it's real black and white. But Black men have always been willing, once they understood what was truly going on, they've always been willing to come to the front under that pain of death, and were killed. Were killed because of it. Openly, open assassinations, okay, of various different Black men, because they dared to first understand exactly what was happening to them as Black men and to the community at large, and then had the audacity to come and confront, and not only educate the community, but confront the powers that were actually enacting these things and say, no, we know what you're doing and we're going to combat it. And I'm going to show y'all two more clips of examples of black men. See, black women don't really know who black men are, because if you understood who our men collectively are, you would never not support them, and you would never turn your back on them. If you really was concerned about the fight against white supremacy in all its forms and variations, you would stick like white on rice with black men. You really would. You would never turn your back to go and get these butter biscuits. But I'm going to show two very powerful clips that I think everybody will really be able to sink their teeth into, because it resonated so much with me. I'm going to show you one, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to show the next one. So here we go.
Studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. Mm-hmm. Well, so you can have him. And here's what I'll say. I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. We studied your history.
I'm telling you, he snatched that white man's soul. You could see the life leave his body. You could just see the soul leave his body, y'all. Average black man, he's in a barbershop. He's the barber. I don't know who that brother is. I wish I knew who that brother was. Okay? Wish I knew who that brother was. Because that type of manhood was just, listen, this is what our black men are made of. This is what our men are actually made of. He hurt that man's soul with nothing more than the absolute truth. That's all he was doing, was reading him the riot act, calm, just cool, calm, and collected. Hey, we know what you do to your face. No bothered about him being, no, white man, you in my area. You coming to talk to me. And if you coming to talk to me, I'm going to talk real to you. I'm going to say what it really is. We're not going to walk on eggshells. We're not going to tiptoe. We're not going to do any of that other stuff. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm not going to cut it short. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That man, the light left his eyes, because he was standing there looking like, how these Negroes understand us like this? We've been hitting them with one hand and giving them a piece of bread with the other. How is it they were supposed to be fooled by when we be nice and when we smile and all that kind of stuff? They supposed to be fooled by that. And when we give them a little something, they supposed to forget all about the other stuff we done did to them. No, this was our average black men. And if you want to complain about black men not having that level of masculinity, black woman, all you have to do is look at your single motherhood rate and how you run black men off from their children and stop them from being able to give their children and teach their boys the masculinity and the manhood that these boys need to be strong in this world. You trying to be strong. It's the men that need to be strong, and you make them weak. You help make them weak. Now, I got one more. This is a younger Dr. Claude Anderson. And if you hear it, put a 1 in the chat, because I'm going to play it and I'm going to need y'all to put a 1 in the chat if you hear what he said, what he's talking about. We talk about it on this channel all the time. So when you hear it, type it in the chat what he's talking about. And this is going to be the last clip. Here we go.
The social conditioning, the brainwashing of black folk took off full steam then. Because see, now they were very concerned about all these black slaves. We had to control them. And people said, well, how do you control, how are we going to control them? And said the first way, and there are 3 ways you do it, but the first way is by physical control. Always control a black person physically. That's what slavery is about. The second way of controlling them was called Jim Crowism. Then you control them legally. And the third way you control them is when we came out of the civil rights movement, which means symbolically. You control them by manipulating symbols.
My position is that the black woman's...
The social conditioning, the brainwashing of black folk.
Okay. If you heard it, let me know. Dr. Claude Anderson is this close because he's talking about control them physically, biology. Control them culturally. Control them with law. Now he threw in symbology, but that's not symbology is cultural. That's actually cultural. That would be the only thing, if we're going to pick with it. But he actually stood there. I don't know how many years ago this was, but he actually is talking to a very large group of black people, and he's talking to them about something we talk about all the time here. And he's talking about biological control them physically. Now that we're controlled physically through the medical industry, all types of ways that we're controlled. We're confined in neighborhoods, ghettos. We're still segregated in certain different schools. You go to one end of the city, it's only white schools. You go to the other end of the city, it's only black. You understand? Biological, the physical control, confining you, what you think, all of these sorts of things. And then the culture, to control you culturally with symbols and with this and with that, with media, all of these sorts of things. And then to control you through the law, through the environment. Black men understand biology, culture, and environment. Much love and shout out to Dr. Holman, who brought it full circle to say not only is it biology, culture, and environment, but it's bioculturon is when those 3 things interact simultaneously to transform either individually, small groups, or on a national scale to transform an entire civilization of people. Black women can't be the backbone of the community because you don't know this stuff. And you're not interested in knowing this stuff. You've never been interested. The only thing you've been interested in is butter biscuits. And you got them. And we are destroyed because of it. Just wanted to say that. The next thing I want to say is we still have that petition going against Black Lives Matter Global Networking Foundation. We would love to get to 9,000 signatures as soon as we can. Also, if you want to be a part of holding them accountable for more than $100 million theft of donated funds, then please click down into the description box. Click the link for the petition, sign, share, and contribute. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And also like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you like what you hear and you have not subscribed yet, please hit the subscription button and the notification bell because I drop content every single day. And with that being said, I am your host, The Crimson Cure. And this has been, y'all know I lose my thought at the end. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.